Alright everyone, I'm back with you here. Alright, this bad boy right here comes back from, oh Lord, generation I grew up in, called the 90s. Well, maybe not this TV, but old CRT televisions. I swear, they bring back good old memories. Well, watching them do, not lifting them and carrying them. Because I swear they weigh about, the 19-inch CRTs weigh just about as much as a 55-inch flat panel do today. So, I'm going to explain to you about the CRTs. So, I'm going to take it apart and explain it all. Just as soon as I get the right bit in my drum. Alright, let's see. Whoops. This should work. See, I hate it when I get electronics that require, what do they call them? Nut driver heads. But just about any extension there is will work on this. So, now, I know some of y'all who work with tools all the time are probably wanting to cuss me for using an extension as a nut driver, but in most cases I really don't have a choice because I can't find my darn screwdriver bit sets at the moment. Hence the reason why I didn't have the correct bits for my drill before. Now, where's that darn magnet? Okay, I lost my magnet. Alright, well, do the next best thing. Bear with me. See, the beauty part about saving, as a matter of fact, even better. The beauty part about saving stuff out of electronics is this bad boy right here. This is a powerful little magnet. This came out of a microwave. Inside of microwaves are these, well, microwave generators, and they actually have 2 of these magnets on them. So if you get into recycling, there can be a plus to most of them. Now, once you get the screws out, you be very, excuse my language, very damn careful going inside of these things, alright? Because there are spider webs all over this thing and in this thing. And I have seen videos of it, and I have seen it in person where there's black widows and brown recluses inside of TVs. So, just watch out where you're sticking your fingers inside of these old CRTs, because they're perfect nesting grounds for lethal amphibious creatures, I think they call them. But just be careful. Now, first thing I always do is I take this little board here and just wiggle it and pull at it. It comes right off. Now, end snips are a man's best friend when doing this. You just want to start snipping. Find your main power cord, pull it loose, snip it off. Get that bad boy out of the way. Alright? That right there is a big one. Now, another big issue to deal with is this right here. Alright? This, I don't know the correct name for it. I've heard people say it many times, but these TV tubes hold electricity in them. Now, as time goes, the electricity can bleed off. But there's been cases where the electricity has actually stayed in them for a couple decades. Now, you can usually take a piece of wire and attach it to a screwdriver, and then attach it to a metal bodied object and then stick the screwdriver underneath there. But I just go this route and pull the whole thing off. Be done with that. Now, I have been shocked by that before. And in more than most cases, those are very damn deadly to get shocked by. I was a lucky one. Be careful, guys. Alright, I'm not saying this just to say it. I'm saying this because I mean it. Recycling can be dangerous, okay? And, you know, I have a disclaimer in my video explaining to people that my videos are for educational purposes only. I like to educate people on certain stuff, and I like to show people my stupidity. And yes, I can be very darn dangerous. Yes, I said darn because I'm trying to watch my mouth in case there's little kids watching. And I know I said a cuss word before. Please forgive me on that. But some circumstances, most people will argue against this, but in some circumstances, cussing can be a necessity to get a word across and whatnot. But don't be rude about it when you do. I know I don't have room to talk, but at least I can try to help people to learn. You know, that's my goal in this YouTube channel, is to entertain and help people learn. Now, most of these TVs have Phillips head screws in each corner of this tube. This one does not. So, there's socket heads. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna get a tool to take these out, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. 2 trips to the storage building later, and I got me a socket wrench. Yay. Just gotta make sure I have it going the right direction. Socket wrench here, it's probably older than I am. Belonged to my stepdad. Passed away about, I want to say almost 4.5 years ago. He was a very sick man. Pneumonia all the time, and he had COPD. He was a very physically sick man. Cherish your parents while you have them, because they're not going to be around forever. I love my mother to death. She's my rock. I know I treat her wrong sometimes, and it's hard for me to apologize. So I hope she's watching this video, so she truly knows how much I love her. God help me the day when she goes. Alright. Socket wrench. Man's best friend. In most cases. Alright. Now, for this big yoke right here. Okay, where'd my tools go? And there we are. You know, thinking about it, I'm standing here working on a darn toolbox, and I got spots for my screwdrivers. I'm not even using them. So, you got once on most televisions, you got, well, most small televisions, you got one clamp ring. Alright. Some of the older ones, you had, a lot of the bigger ones, you have 2. And very, very few, you have 3. Just take your time. Sometimes these things don't want to move. You gotta give them a little persuasion. I'm just trying to get the whole dang clamp ring off, so it doesn't fall in the driveway and I don't puncture a tire. Now, you get the clamp ring off, you grab it, you turn it, you lift it off, toss that in the wire bucket because there's a lot of bare copper wire. This baby right here, take it off, take it out of me. your body down. There you go. That is about 98% of the weight in a television, if not more. So be careful with these things. A lot of people don't realize, but you look at the front of them, you got that blackish grayish texture. That is powdered mercury, one of the most poisonous elements in existence. Mercury goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. It was widely used during the gold rush era back in the 1800s to do what is called dry panning. Gold will stick to mercury, but dirt won't. And they would have a bucket of mercury, and people would put the dirt in there and swish it around. Mercury would grab hold of the gold, but not the dirt. The dirt would go out. And people back then, in years past, didn't know how deadly mercury was, but they do now. So if you do decide to break this, which I do not suggest it, be very careful, because this glass, very damn sharp when broken, and if you get cut by it, the mercury will actually slow down the healing process. Last time I got cut by this glass, it took almost 2 months for the cut on my finger to heal. Not fun. So be careful. Alright, tear apart, punch more televisions, and I'll be back with you with more electronics to show and explain about them. Be back in just a bit. Alright everyone, I'm back. Sorry about that. Now, so pretty much I've gotten just about everything I had to torn apart, electronic wise. I have a large, and I mean a large assortment of circuit boards, wire, and metal, which, thank the Lord, I was able to get the lawnmower trailer out, and I was able to fill it full of the metal. Now, for heaven's sake, I have about 10 times more metal than that here on this property, so that should be a good turn-in. Now, if you want to get into recycling, metal is okay. It all pays out. But metal, most recycle centers, just on a guesstimation, is about 7 to 7.5 cents to a pound. Alright? With circuit boards, you get into circuit boards and aluminum and wire and stuff, you're looking from 35 cents to a pound, all the way upwards of probably $1 to a pound for circuit boards, and between 35 to 67 cents for basically all varieties of aluminum. And you know, wire, of course, is going to bring in the most money, and it definitely will bring in the most money if you sort it out from copper wire to aluminum wire, and if you strip as much copper wire as possible, you're definitely going to get paid out more. So it's a way to think about things. And you know, if you want to get into recycling, you got to think about what you want to recycle, and you got to think about doing your sorting process, and after the sorting process, whether you want to go further and strip wire, remove aluminum heat sinks off of the circuit boards, and the little transformers and stuff off the circuit boards, strip the wire of the transformers. There's a lot of stuff to think about in recycling. And you know, some of the stuff takes a little more time than others, but if you want to get your more of a payout for it, then you're going to take the extra time. Now, when it comes to recycling wire, and you're taking the wire out of electronics from TVs, VCRs, whatever, anything uses a power cord or batteries has wire, circuit boards in it, all the way down to kids' toys. Seriously. Now, when it comes to wire, hold on one second. This ain't all of it, but when you got wire, you got wire with plugs and stuff on them, or little pieces of plastic on them. stuff, when you got these crimps here, you want to cut all of them off, alright, like such. Now when it comes to cables with actual 2 or 3 prong plugs on them, you have to cut those off. No matter what state you're in, no recycling center is going to take your recyclables with those plugs on them. Now some of these plugs have brass prongs on them, and if that's the case, try to get some type of cutters to cut those prongs off. Put all your brass aside. Brass brings in a good bit of money. Now if you're a gun enthusiast and you like to go shooting all the time, collect all your brass. Collect all the empty ammo casing brass that you can get your hands on. That brings in a good bit of money. And you can go a step further with the ammo brass. Get you a primer punch tool. Punch all the primers out. Then you get the most money for the brass. The reason why is because those primers in the casings are considered a hazardous material, and they have to go through a hazardous material reduction crap, whatever. It's just easy enough. Get you a primer punch, costs you $2 or $3 off a Reloader website, and punch all the primers out. It takes a little extra time, but you get more money out of it. So, but back to this, you know, like I said, all your 2 or 3 prong plugs, cut them off. If these prongs are brass, cut those off the plugs, put the brass up separately, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and I will be back with you as soon as I get things sorted out, and I will show you my sorting process, alright? Back with you in a bit. Alright. Now, I'm going to explain a few more things to you about when it comes to separating all your circuit boards. There's no use trying to separate them when you're tearing everything apart. Don't try it. It's going to take way longer than you want. So just tear everything apart, pile all the circuit boards together while you're working on them. I got a box behind me, I got a bucket in front of me. Now, when it comes to circuit boards, you want to separate them to what they are. Alright? Now you got certain boards in your stockpile that can be considered everything from video boards. Video boards consist of boards with AVI, HDMI, or composite or S-video plugs on them. And then you got power supply boards, which have the capacitors and transformers on them, which convert power from AC input to DC input of different voltages. And then you got your computer motherboards, like such, okay? You definitely want to separate your motherboards. Keep those separate from everything else, because those bring in more money than just about any other circuit board, alright? Now when it comes to the boards that come out of the old CRT televisions, separate those. Make sure those are separate from everything else, okay? Because these are lower grade boards. Now, they're lower grade boards. They pay more than low grade boards, but when you're working on them, when you're going through separating everything, you want to make sure you take off all the wire you can, because the wire does build up, okay? I have a bucket down here beside me, 5-gallon bucket. It's not the most wire I've ever collected, nowhere by far, but you want to keep all your wires separate. Now, I was explaining to you about the aluminum heat sinks. When it comes to aluminum heat sinks, you can take pliers and rip them off the boards, or you can nip the boards and then pull the circuit board material off. I just usually take a screwdriver and try to pry it loose as best as I can. And you know, if it doesn't work, if you only have like one heat sink on there, sometimes it's not really worth the pain and aggravation to take it off. So let me show you something. This right here is called a capacitor. Capacitors are pretty much like batteries, like rechargeable batteries. they have little wafers in them stacked up, alright? And what happens is power comes into the capacitors. It charges up the capacitors. When the device needs power, it takes power from the capacitor. Now, instead of it doing a constant pull of power from like a transformer or something, converted power from a transformer, it actually, this in line from the transformer to the device will actually act as a battery supply instead of pulling so much power off. It's like people that like to put sound systems in their cars. You know, you can put a sound system and wire the amplifier straight to the battery, but you know what? You're going to take the risk of killing your battery, killing your alternator, and whatnot. They got what are called, in short term, power caps, otherwise known as capacitors. The capacitors charge and discharge power constantly when the device is running. And when the device is not running, it holds a charge. Alright? And it saves your power supplies, it saves your batteries, saves your alternators, whatever's supplying the power. So, capacitors are definite need in society. Now, I've seen it come where I've seen computers come into computer shops, and people bring me computers to see why their computer's not posting or turning on or whatever. First thing I look for is the capacitors. Your top of your capacitor, you have a cross mark in the top of the capacitor. The capacitor's flat. I check all the capacitors. If they're flat, they're good. If they have a little bit of a dome sticking up on them, capacitor's shot. If you ever see that, that means your motherboard's dead. You need to replace it. So, now, like I said, go through, remove as many of the aluminum heat sinks as possible. Take off all the wire you can off the circuit boards. Separate the circuit boards from, of course, CRT circuit boards to computer motherboards, power supplies, video boards, and all the way down to little boards like this are known as low-grade boards. Alright? Now, one more board to show you. If you're tearing apart computers, you got hard drives and CD-ROMs and whatnot in your computer. This is a circuit board off of a CD-ROM. Alright? Now, those boards on the bottom of the CD-ROM, a hard drive, old floppy drives, those boards are worth more than regular low-grade boards. They're not worth as much as motherboards, but they're worth more than low-grade boards. Separate those. So, I'm going to go ahead and separate all these boards. Oh, one more thing. These big yokes that come off the back of the CRT tubes, you can take these apart and get all these big winds of copper and separate those, and you get more money for it, or you just leave them like this. Now, I'm going to keep these around for a little while and put these up, because I'm constantly getting old CRT televisions. Don't know why people still have them, but they do. So, you can sell them as is, or you can take them apart and get the copper winds and sell them separate. So, alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish taking the heat sinks off the circuit boards, and I'll be back with you here in just a bit. Alright everyone, I'm back again. So, pretty much what you see here, if you can see it, I hope it is in frame, is my recyclables that I've gotten out of this load. This may not look like much. It's probably about $4 or $5 worth of materials here. That's why if you want to get into electronic recycling, you're gonna have to stockpile your circuit boards and stuff. But you figure you're getting multiple grades of circuit boards: low grade, mid grade, high grade, video boards, power supply boards, motherboards, and so on. And you're getting aluminum, copper wire, metal bits and pieces, screws, nuts and bolts, wire. I think I already said that. Now, you're getting a good bit of stuff out of here. You know, it looks like a lot, but sometimes it might not be. It's like this piece right here. Solid aluminum. This whole panel. Now, I have a garden trailer right here, off to my left, which would be your right, full of metal. Metal that has come out of all these recyclables. Now, I still got other metal on the property. I've already mentioned that. And I have two printers over there that still need to be torn apart, but that's a little more in depth. And I'll do another video on that here soon, on taking apart a printer. But you think about it like this. You're getting a lot of materials out of this stuff. Yes, circuit boards you got to stockpile to be able to get a good payout. I did it one time. I have a Lincoln Town Car where I filled up my entire trunk, my back floorboard, my back seat, my front passenger floorboard and seat. And yeah, I got about $76 and change out of that. But that was a lot of darn circuit boards. So, but I also had help. I had a friend that was driving around with a truck through town and everything, picking up anything and everything. And all he wanted was the big appliances, but he still picked up the TVs, VCRs and stuff for me. And we sort of did a trade-off. I'd take all the wires, circuit boards, and aluminum, and I'd give him what metal comes out of it. So, and I did that 2 different times. Had 2 different friends that did this stuff. And if you have a truck, heck yeah, go driving around your city streets. Learn the city trash runs. You can pick up appliances, electronics, everything. You know, there's a lot of stuff on, like, computers. The motherboards bring in decent money. You go into you take a computer apart, you got everything from the motherboard, the processor chip, the RAM chips. The processor chip and RAM chips you want to separate as well, because those bring in more money per pound than a motherboard, but you got to have a lot of them. And you know, you got your power supplies. You can sell the power supplies in whole, or you can take them apart, separate the power supply board from the wire, from the aluminum heat sinks, from the metal case. You got your CD-ROMs, your hard drives. Now hard drives, if you really want to get into it, you take those apart, because those are solid aluminum bodies. And they got little motors in them. And they got little discs in there as well that can also be sold separately. So I will have other videos in the future explaining about more and more about this and showing you more and more about it, because I've got hard drives in some of my room that I could do a video on and everything. But at the meantime, other than this, I have a project going on in my room. Been working on my computer desk. If you've seen my videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully, really soon, I'll have my desk done, and I'll be able to start filming with inside my room. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the video here. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'm not asking you to subscribe so I can get the most subscribers possible. I'm asking you to subscribe to please, so it can help my channel out. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel up. I'm trying to get my subscribers up, yes, of course, but it also helps you out, so you'll be able to see when I have more new videos coming up and everything. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like and share my video. And stay tuned for new upcoming videos. Alright? I'm going to go ahead and call it for the night. Well, day. Whatever it is. I'm tired. Alright, y'all. Have a good one.